viewers new and returning again to Saviours DnD, our weekly Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition stream, where we follow the path of our party of adventurers, the Red World Saviours in the Forgotten Realms. As ever, we'd be grateful if you could follow us at twitch.tv/SavioursDnD. And we are only now, I think, 12 followers away from the path to affiliate, which we'd really love to try and do. So anyone that hasn't followed us that's watching, would really, really appreciate your support. You'll also find links to our Twitter and our YouTube channels down below the stream. And we post our VODs in smaller bite-sized portions for YouTube through the week. So if you can't watch the whole stream and need to catch up, it'll be there for you. I'm not going to be about next week, so I'll do this at the end of the stream as well. So we're not sure, are you guys taking the week off, or are you planning anything to fill the gap next week?
I think we're going to probably just take the day. Take the week off, rather. Yeah,
and we'll rerun this episode or something like that.
Yeah, we'll tweet about it.
Yeah, but just so you know, there won't be a live game next week. Sorry, real life occasionally happens. Without further ado, we'll go back to the new introductions and go back to our normal order and start with Dombro and your character.
It's me again. Yeah, I am Dombro. I play Alton. He is a gnomish bard. He's from the Feywild, so he's new to the material realm of Faerun. He is a mute, but he speaks and casts his spells through his raven Quill, who is a white raven who comes around everywhere with him. And yeah, that's basically him. If you hear him talking in game, he's talking through his little bird friend. And yeah, he's a little gnomish forest boy.
Good, thank you very much. And next it is Jabber, who plays Salir.
Yes, I am Salir. Or I play Salir. My name is Jabber.
Have you been drinking today, sir?
It's going to be one of those days, is it?
I haven't had this in a while. Okay. I'm a barbarian. Barbarian of the Hemomancer, which we made ourselves. He's a half vampire, half elf, and he's here to hit things with an axe.
Indeed, and he does that quite well. Mr. Emeros and our lovely yuan-ti, Cyric.
Yep, I'm Emeros, that's me. And I'm playing the yuan-ti druid / warlock. And yeah, he blasts everything with his eldritch powers.
He does indeed, he does indeed. And last but no means least, terribly, so Miss Mara.
Miss Mara Clearwater, a human cleric of Joaquin. She heals and she casts guiding bolts, and she uses spirit guardians, and her protector or guardian Garvin, who hits things with an axe and is very strong. But I don't really play him. I control him in combat.
Yes. And that's, done for many reasons, but we don't need to go into that just now. Yeah. The party met in a small town nearby and has thwarted various evils there. And after a sojourn into the depths of a hag hut, they have now made their way safely to the city of Neverwinter, one of the major cities on the Sword Coast. Not before Mara had to listen to some difficult words from Garvin, who'd been highly stressed with her running off into the woods in her pyjamas and disappearing for hours and then reappearing covered in blood and gore when he's meant to be her protector. But that was a couple of days in the past now. Everyone is safe and sound and within the walls of Neverwinter. And as we start today, the party has just sat down to a meal in the Tollbooth Tavern, which is owned by a partial acquaintance of Mara's called Hairbreath, who is a big, tall, ginger-haired human man in his 50s. And I think we start just now. Hairbreath has been talking to you. You've all ordered drinks, and he has just placed them on the table, along with a couple of very sort of small menus. Mara's already told you that the menus are usually quite small for choice, but the food here is absolutely excellent. And I can't remember exactly who ordered what, but I think a couple of you have pints of very dark stout called the Amazing Tempest in front of you.
Yep.
Someone else has a very fresh golden pale ale called the Yellow Blaze. And Alton, and I'm not sure if Salir joined him, has a very dark ruby red dark wine, if not possibly a sort of port called the Brilliant Jam.
Yeah.
Which has certainly piqued Alton's interest ever so slightly at the mention of his favourite J word.
Much prefers it than Jabberwocky. Huh? Abuse. PvP.
So, what is everyone feeling now that they have settled into civilization for a couple of hours? You've got the caravan being tended to by Louisa and her men who are unpacking it into one of the various warehouses. That's not something that you need to concern yourselves intimately with or anything.
We're at a table. We're at a table, I presume, are we?
You're at a table, yes. I described it last week, but don't worry, I wouldn't expect you to remember. So, as you go into the Tollbooth Tavern, it is much bigger than it looks from the outside. It is quite a large rectangular, but the front door that you are presented to is one of the narrow ends of the rectangle. So it goes quite deep back. There's a raised bit at the back where there is some tables, but there's obviously there's a stage there. And there's at the moment there's a fiddler playing. The bar is on your right hand side, and there are tables and booths that sit sort of 5 or 6 people on the left hand side, and then there's just general standing space between those tables and the bar. It's moderate busy. There were tables free when you came in, but there's a good mixture of people there. And although there's a couple of people behind the bar, one being Hairbreath, who obviously came over because he recognised Mara from her previous visits.
I think Alton's going to be very curiously sniffing and looking at this drink that's in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
This jam or whatever you said. What do they call it?
The Brilliant Jam.
The Brilliant Jam. Let me just put it this way. He's skeptical. And I think he's gonna take his index finger and just one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you'll have to let me know what Alton's sort of likes are. But
he hates
is
alcohol.
Right. Okay. Well,
and
first
things
thing
that
is
taste of alcohol.
it is that is not the first thing. It is a very alcoholic drink, but it is not the first thing that hits him. He probably quite likes it for the first 2 or 3 seconds before the alcohol.
The palate burns through.
The palate burn, yeah, exactly. It starts with a very jammy sort of taste, and you'll probably actually maybe go back for a wee bit more before the burn of the alcohol sort of gets to the back of the mouth and sort of catches the back of his throat. If it had been someone who liked such things, it would be a beautiful wine. It's got depth and poise to it, but as it is very strong.
Yeah, I think he goes through he runs the gamut. So he, with his little forefinger, he just, and just immediately pushes the goblet or whatever it came in towards just the middle of the table. He wouldn't want to do that to any of his party members. He's just and then he just immediately starts licking the inside of his suit jacket, like trying to get rid of the flavor. And I think he'll start sneezing as well.
Okay.
Easy.
All right. I guess it is not for you. So they would just grab the glass and slide it next to his own.
Take it away from me.
Would we know something else that he could drink? Juice, maybe?
Oh,
If they
Alden's
had
already after taking out some of his water rations and like
okay.
whatever he has left. There's like a bag which at this stage I think is more akin. It used to have cherries, but I think it's sort of mulchy at the bottom now. So because he doesn't like pick the cherries out, he just fists them into his mouth. So it's soupy down there, and he's just eating that. He seems very keen on getting this flavor out of his mouth right now. So he is sort of brushing his teeth with the sugary jam.
But if you just keep drinking, the aftertaste never comes.
Oh no! Don't.
That's the science of drinking.
Yeah.
Try this at home, kids. No.
Yeah.
No, don't. If you're underage, don't.
The burn means it's working.
Saviours D&D. Drink responsibly, kids.
Yeah, indeed. So I think moving on, you order food to take it. This being next to the coast, there's a variety of shellfish and fish, but especially Alton, if you ask for something that's like not meat or anything, they are quite happy to make you a vegetable stew or something like that. There are various fruits that they have here as well, so if that's all you want, they were able to provide you just with a bowl of fresh fruits rather than the mulch that you seem to be taking out of your pack.
Yeah, he'll take a bowl of the fresh fruit and he will pour what's left of his mulch over the top.
You'll get some odd looks, but nobody's going to say anything to you.
All I get is odd looks. So,
extra odd looks.
Yeah, he's quite content this way. He's happy out, and he's obviously very quiet. But what I mean is he's not interactive with people. He's just very concentrated on getting all of this fruit into his mouth right now.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Sarek, did you order food, or they definitely don't have a line of live rodents for the discerning yuan-ti visitor.
I think Sarek would definitely add something to his plate. So just anything really bloody, I suppose.
It's one of these things. Being next to the coast, they actually specialize in oysters and things like that. Would that be something? And they're live. Would that be something that Sarek would try?
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll let you. I mean, you get a dozen oysters that's sort of smaller than normal, which is why there's so many. But yeah, I mean, they're excellent quality. But I'll obviously let you decide whether Sarek enjoys them or not.
Well, first off, he does not really know how to open one of these.
Well, I should say they come actually on a platter, and they've already been half shelled and shucked. So you're presented with this large white dinner plate with these sort of palm-sized scallops. Not scallops, sorry, oysters, with this sort of half shell arranged on it. And I think Hairbreath would just say, have you had oysters before? I can tell you how to eat them if you want.
Yes, please tell me. I've never had any of these before.
Well, and he explains, well, they're a live form of shellfish, and a lot of people like to put in. He puts a wee bottle, some of that on it. It's a very, very spicy hot sauce. But a lot of people as well just like, they're quite salty. Do you mind if I have one? I'll go and get another one to replace it.
Sure.
And he just picks up one of the shells and down and just has it in one. He does put a liberal amount of the hot sauce on it before he eats it, and you can see a couple of wee beads of perspiration. I don't know if you've come across spices and things, but it is
some, but not very well consumed himself.
Okay.
He knows what they are, but that's nothing that he gets.
And he just gestures to the rest of the plate. And I'll go and get that replacement, I promised. As you can see, there's no great science to it. I do hope you enjoy.
I know how to do that as well. So he picks up one of the oysters, leans his head back, and his lower jaw snaps out just a little bit. So they will be a lot easier to pour down. And he does not really take one and then, chew or swallow it. He just takes the next and
Pours them
keeps
down.
pouring them down. Yeah.
And you know what? I don't know. Again, you'll have to decide whether Surik likes them. But by the way he's eating, I think he obviously does. And it basically tastes like the ocean. If Surik has ever experienced being at the ocean side, there's a hint of salt, a hint of iron, a hint of steak, and the texture is almost like that of the albumin, the white bit of an egg.
Nope.
I'm gonna have to oil a con check. Stop it.
Unless you can't tell, I love oysters.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no.
This is not having a bad effect on me at all.
Oysters are fine. Yeah, they're not bad. I've eaten way worse. I was about to say something terrible. Sorry.
After literally just pouring all of them down his throat, he, clutches, and that was not too bad. Thank you for the dinner.
Do you want more, Surik?
No. I'm fine.
Imagine Alton is watching you when you're doing this, and Quill is very intrigued by the oysters.
Okay.
But like Alton is looking at you in horror, a bit in horror, not trying to be rude or anything, but he's certainly looking up to
It's
you and sort of.
It's horror.
I don't know how many there are, like 12, and he just keeps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all right. And then it's nothing else. It's just finished.
How obvious is Quill making his interest in these, Alton?
Well, I'll tell you what's happening is Quill has jumped from Alton's. He sort of was roosting in if there was if the chairs are high, he was sort of on top of one of the chair backs. And he has slowly but surely hopped his way around to Surik. And he's basically what he's doing is he's actually starting to get not aggressive but excited at his familiar. So he's like, he's got the best view basically. So he's just sort of starting to make mock charges towards him and stuff. But yeah, that's what he's doing.
I think Herbreth will probably notice that he's very good at what he does, which is entertaining other people professionally. And I think he'll go to you, Alton. He says, "Well, I'm not sure whether I can give oysters to a bird, but I do have some mussels, which are a very similar thing that are a bit more common, that I could put some for the bird."
Alton, with his hands covered in jam, sort of jam and fruit and whatever is happening in this bowl, sort of looks to him as he's saying, "I have some mussels and I have some." Alton just looks down and
No. He'll notice that, and he'll say, no. They're similar to those, but a slightly different shape and a little bit smaller.
And
He'll
now
take them.
Alton will sort of share a look with Quill, and then he'll look back, and then he's like, Quill will say, yes, he would like some. And Alton will look back at him like...
he goes away and he comes back and has a bowl of. He's already like taken the meat out of the shells for Quill and just sort of places a bowl somewhere appropriate for him to.
Quill will do the thing. If you ever had a pet bird, he will meet his hand as he's walking towards the table and sort of be skittering and hopping on top of his forearm, and then as he puts it down, just two wings come out and he's just loving it. And he loves them.
Good. That's fine. And yeah, the Airbreath said, well, there's plenty more where that came from if you need. They're a very common occurrence. You could even go and pick them yourself if you know the right places to go to. So they're not very expensive. I'm happy for him to eat for free.
No. We pay for the food.
Alton, yourself, and he just sort of waves at you as if to, we'll deal with that when we're dealing with that. Not to sort of, well, no, actually to dismiss you, but not you itself, but like, that's for now. Enjoy yourselves, and worry about money. Alton, there's probably a couple of things that you've never even experienced before. This is a big trading city, so they do have some very exotic fruits relatively commonly available. So within your bowl, there's things you're used to, like raspberries and strawberries and brambles and things. But there are also, they have left a banana that it's been skinned, but it's not been chopped up. You've been provided with knife, fork, spoon. And there are also sort of roughly thumb-sized chunks of a nice yellow looking fruit that's obviously part of a larger thing that has been there. For you as a player, it's pineapple, but...
Sure. Are they in like the sort of disc cut up?
No, it's obviously been diced, so it's in like...
I know
very,
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Alton will start, as he's eating everything else that he recognises. I'm hearing a buzz. Is anyone else hearing a buzz?
Yeah, me too.
It's gone.
Maybe.
Okay.
Is it my cell phone?
It's fine.
Sorry.
It was vibrating or something.
So Alton will, as he's eating what he recognises, the raspberries, the whatever he recognises from the thicket, essentially, or he might have tasted in Reese's. He will be moving all of, like, the whole banana will go to the side, the pineapple chunks will go to the side, and he is going to attempt to rebuild whatever this thing that's been chopped up is. So he's going to try and... he recognises that it's part of the same thing, so he's going to attempt to rebuild it as he's eating.
Right, how many chunks are you going to get in there?
He hasn't eaten any of it yet.
No, I know. I mean, it's not a whole pineapple in there. I mean, it's...
No, I get you. Listen, I don't know what he's doing either.
There's about 8 or so chunks, and they're all roughly the same size and shape. Not exactly, because they're, being chopped up, but they're pretty close. So you can make a square, another bigger square out of them, or a rectangle or stuff, but nothing that he would recognise as a fruit that he's seen or done.
Okay.
Especially without skin.
Well, he'll try and get...
He's basically got Lego that doesn't actually snap together.
Well, he's basically just going to make like a geometric shape. We'll say maybe an elongated diamond-y shape, maybe, perhaps. I don't know, whatever he can make from the right angles. And eventually he's going to be done with what he's used to. And he's going to take a piece of the leftover pineapple that wasn't used in that shape. He's going to look at it carefully. And I really doubt he would have seen anything like this being tropical in nature, and that's not where he would have been from. Even though the fruit is completely different where he's from, he wouldn't recognize this.
No.
And he'll
and it's got when he's touching it, he can feel it sticky, so that's something he's used to because he knows fruit tends to be sticky, and it will have a beautiful sweet perfume coming off it that we all know as that a pineapple smells like when you've got a fresh chunk of it like that. Little bit tart, but definitely sweetness.
So he'll break it open, and he'll definitely look to Mara a bit.
I'm assuming that Mara has eaten a pineapple, or at least
you're exactly. I mean, with your mercantile background, I'll not even get you to roll that you know what it is.
Try it, Alton. I think you'll really like it.
And as you break it apart, there are sort of juice starting to run down between your fingers.
We'll need a bowl afterwards of water, so you can clean your hands, Alton.
I'm not thirsty, Miss Mara.
Nah.
And he'll start to eat it.
Does he suck it, crunch it?
No. He takes the two pieces and they go behind the back of his teeth, and he just
just sit there.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing is he just gets that lovely sort of clean oh, sorry, I punched my microphone. That lovely. Sorry, I just hope it didn't come through on the stream.
Pineapple.
That lovely, fresh taste, the burst of pineapple when you eat a fresh bit of it, that washes over his palate. Lovely sweetness and that slight sort of citrus tang towards the end, but not overpowering. But again, up to you whether Alton would relish that or not.
No, he is. It looks like he might have been charmed. He's looking into the middle distance and not saying a whole lot. He never says anything, but he's not moving. He's just chewing and looking. And
I think Mara would really enjoy that look.
And then he's going to, as well as that, he's going to get brave and he's going to break off a piece of the banana. He's just going to eat that straight away.
Again,
it tastes like banana.
That sort of very. Yeah, it's just a banana. That sort of very smooth texture. It's a lot more rounded, not so openly sweet, but again, there's none of the bitterness at all.
And you see now he kind of takes up. He started doing this as he's chewing, thinking, and he's
like a wine connoisseur drinking sort of wine.
And this is like, and I think you hear Quill nearly choke as he's chewing on the mussels as he says while half swallowing something. Could use something. And he will take out one of his jam jars, and he'll just he'll dunk the banana in the jam, and then he'll eat it.
Awesome.
And it's like a eureka moment. Like, of course. How has this not been in my life? And he will just devour it completely, happily. He is a mess right now, covered in everything. He's got hairs and stuff on his hands from touching the table, so he's just all sticky mess.
I think, although it's quite busy and it's getting busier, I think Herbreth is quite taken to watching you enjoy the food. He loves watching people who are enjoying the things that they've created here. And although it's just chopping up some fruit, he says, have you never had a banana or pineapple before? It's seemed to be quite enjoying yourself there.
What is it?
And is there any of it left, or?
God, no. The bowl is upside down.
Right. Okay.
There's jam left.
I think he looks at that and he says the small squares are part of a very large fruit that we chopped up, and it's called a pineapple. And the oblong one is part of a fruit called a banana. They come from the Chult region to the far, far south. It's very hot and tropical.
I have had apples before. They do not taste like that. You won't trick me.
No. And he goes like that. Hold up. And he comes out and he has a whole pineapple. That's a pineapple. That's what you've just eaten.
I think Alton thinks that might be something's head.
An unskinned banana. And he says, that's a banana.
An unskinned banana, so
It's a banana. Yeah.
Mara will take out a gold coin and slide it towards Herbert. Show him. Open it and show it to him.
And
the pineapple and the banana.
Alton's going to lean in.
Out, he goes away to get a knife, and he comes back and he holds the pineapple and sort of cuts a slice, turns it round, takes the skin off, and sort of passes it out to you. So instead of a small cube, you're getting a big slice of it that's come off, but you can tell it's the same fruit once he's taken away the prickly outer skin.
He eats it.
Absolutely the same, just even more.
Pineapples.
They grow on trees just like apples, but I don't think they're related.
No. The apple is a sheer mockery compared to this. As he carefully studies its ridges and the way it glistens off the light.
That is a bit rude to apples.
I like apples.
Apples.
They're fine.
Not her apples. Apples, only pineapples matter.
Depression.
And he goes, well, I've got lots of other guests to be dealing with. I'm sorry to rush off, but I'll leave you these. And he leaves the unopened banana and the pineapples, and he sort of nods to Mara and says, "We will discuss money later. Don't worry." And he sort of moves off. Obviously, Salir and Mara would have had food at this time as well. Would there anything that you would have particularly wanted to have, or? I mean, there's stew and chicken and the normal sorts of things, but there's many more sort of fish and.
Yeah, I think he'd go for fish. He's trying. I think he would try. I think Salir would try to get whatever would be difficult to get in a small town. Like he wants to. We're in a large city. We want to take full advantage of the resources of a large city.
I think in that case, what you get is
sushi,
dragon burger.
No, not sushi. It's definitely not that sort of culture. I think what you would get is a lovely big bit of poached turbot. It's been poached in milk. There's black butter sauce over the top of it.
Yeah.
Burnt butter sauce over the top of it. With
good.
I don't even like fish, and I want that.
Yeah, small potato. Yeah, sorry, it's the chef in me.
Yeah.
Or more the chef in my family that I never was.
I get a picture of Vegeta.
New potatoes, wilted spinach, and things like that. But it's incredibly well made.
Yeah. Definitely gonna relish that. I'm just Googling pictures of this. It's like, man, I'm hungry. Man, I'm gonna have to go out to eat after this. I can't cook any of this.
Yes, it's a big flat fish.
Yeah.
Too many bones.
I had to look it up. I got a picture of Vegeta for some reason.
Cool.
And Mara, what would you, before you fall down a rabbit hole, what would Mara be choosing from the menu?
That is my nature. Mara would probably want a meat pie, like a slice of home, essentially.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. I think it's more coming into. It's still the end of summer, ticking into the beginning of autumn. So the sorts of pies that they have there is, I think you can get a very nice short crust pie, but it's filled with chicken and leek and a creamy sauce. But very similar accompaniment to Salir's turbot with new potatoes and butter and spinach and things.
If we ever do an all-in-person game, I'm gonna need Squid to cook these meals, and we will show them on camera. Like, this is what our characters are eating currently.
I have already promised Dombro and Terror that if we all meet in person, I will definitely cook for you all.
No, you're cooking our D&D meals.
Oh, yeah. I want meatballs.
I describe things I am capable of cooking, so that won't actually be too much of a problem.
Yeah.
But what shall we do to deserve the meal?
Anyway, so I think time goes by. Does anyone have any conversation? I think Garvin will order like lamb chops or something like that. He's just he's like me. He's on the keto diet. He just wants fat and
He's not on the keto diet. He's on the Garvin diet.
Some lamb chops with like an apple glaze and like Brussels sprouts.
You don't get hips like his without bread.
That's the beer.
Oh, I see.
Because he's putting away an awful lot of amazing tempest whilst you're sitting there, and the bar servers are very keen to keep up the supply as he drinks away. And I mean, does the conversation naturally turn to anything? Or are you all just engrossed in your meal and having a little bit of comfort and warmth for the first time in a week or so?
There's definitely a case of comfort, but Alton, unlike, he's not getting, after his meal, he's not getting like snoozy or anything like that. He's getting a little bit wired from the sugar. So
I need to run away. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Right, no, that's the way.
Okay.
Dog issue, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to go into some Mara backstory, but that's fine. I think Alton will just be sort of wide-eyed at the table, sort of looking around. So if anyone's engaging in conversation, he'll be listening, essentially.
I'll come back to you when Mara reappears. Yeah. What about Sirik and Salir? Again, are you just quiet contemplation, or do you start any conversations yourselves?
I think Sirik is just leaning back and having just a relaxing moment right now.
Yeah, I think just basking in the civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoying, really relishing the meal, drinking port, just enjoying everything.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. So Alton, you were wanting to say something to Miss Mara.
Yeah, I think Alton sort of is excitable, and he sort of says, "Well, so Mara, you've been here before.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do in a place like this?"
Oh, well, whatever you can afford and want to do, really. Like, you can go to a big town and you can see a show. You can watch. Maybe they have plays or gladiators. You can go and. What?
Bowling.
No, God, no. So, whatever it is that you really want to do, Alton, is there anything that you would like to do? You can go and see jugglers, maybe. Fire breathers.
And sort of looks, sort of gets close to you. Don't know what any of that is.
Oh.
Yeah. I think Alton, jugglers possibly, because I think that is something that people would potentially entertain each other with, and even back in your home. But fire breathers, definitely, maybe not.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, yeah.
A juggler is a person who has maybe a pair of 3 balls or a couple of swords, and they throw them into the air. And they throw them up and they catch them with their hands, and they keep on doing that, and it's very impressive.
Oh, I think Alton will sort of grab whatever's left of knives and bowls and stuff and just start doing it, or try to do it. He'll throw a bowl and maybe a utensil, and sort of in acknowledgement that he might know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say dexterity check, I suppose.
This could go well.
Yeah.
Dex
we'll
check.
Pay for the damages.
Oh no, it's totally fine. Jeez, can't go that wrong.
You say that.
I do.
Please don't say that.
I do. I say it. So it's just a straight.
We'll say acrobatics if you've got that skill. If it's better than your straight dex.
I do. Bard life. Actually, 14.
Yeah, I think that's good enough that you start doing it, and you're keeping the pattern well. And I think you managed to go for 20-30 seconds, but then it all comes crashing down because you've used too many things that were different shapes and sizes that made it harder. But you get the realization that if you'd actually used things that were the same weight, you would have probably managed to do that quite easily, virtually as long as you wanted to.
Yeah, and he says,
but you're all quite impressed to begin with.
And he says in common, he just says juggling, like he hadn't heard it in that language yet, sort of thing.
Yeah,
so he's
absolutely.
like juggling in acknowledgement as everything's raining around him.
Very good, Alton. And Mara will hail her breath. We'll pay for the damages. It's fine.
I mean, it's nothing's broken.
There's a wooden bowl. I imagine the utensils are wooden.
Yeah, and the utensils are all. And he's just like, it's fine. Just because it's not a major issue or anything, and the noise has actually mostly been underneath the general murmur of conversation and hilarity in the pub, because it's quite narrow, and the sound sort of swirling off the walls and stuff. That's a wee minor thing like that. So barely anyone noticed it.
I think Alton will sort of stamp on the fork to bring it up off the ground, sort of stabbing it, catch it, and he'll kip up the bowl into the other hand and just sort of put it in front of him, and then he'll say, "Yeah, but what did you do here?"
I do here.
Mm-hmm.
Depends what I feel like Dale to. Usually I will probably be working, dealing with caravan stuff, buying and selling. To me, that's as fun as I guess you might think juggling is. If you enjoy it. I don't know if you actually do enjoy it.
He looks at you, he's like,
okay.
But
I
we need to, for Risa, we need to make sure that she gets good money for her jam. So you will enjoy that.
Yeah, that's fun. I mean, I wouldn't be a cleric of Joaquin if I didn't enjoy it, or at least find something in it. So, but we'll deal with Louisa tomorrow. There's no need to worry about that today. Today we can sample the many things that trade can bring to a city. So, I mean, otherwise tomorrow we go and see a show. Aw, my heart melts in advance.
Little man.
Oh.
But people who don't know, there's a kid there somewhere.
Terror's ovaries are tweaking.
Yeah, they are, as always. Hey, little man. Oh, he can't hear us. This is good.
It's Alton. It's a gnome.
You're very blonde, Alton. Emiros. What were we even talking about? Mara.
We're talking about you and caravans and enjoying money.
Yeah, I enjoy trading, Alton. It's fun to me. But there's also other things that we can do. Fire breathers, like I mentioned, they have a stick. It's on fire, and they put it down their throat, and then they blow out fire like a dragon.
Minor illusions of.
Yeah, okay, you can do it, but with the spell, they do it with something else.
He minor illusions are coming out of his ears now. Like he blocks it and it comes out his ears.
Yeah.
And so he just starts giggling to himself.
Anyone else, that was super cute.
Yeah, very much.
Good little man.
He hit you in the face with his hat. With your hat.
Yeah. As it does.
But I don't know if there's any type of show we might want to see, or museum maybe.
Oh God, we're going to a museum. How boring is Mara? Sorry.
Is Mara ever
Maybe we can learn something.
Maybe we can have Alton sit still for an hour.
Yeah,
and watch
Alton, like,
do stuff.
this whole time has just been fidgeting with stuff, and basically he's got
I would
those
like to
dilated
remind-
sugar pupils.
I would like to remind Mara that you're talking to the people who crept out of a third-story window to avoid the desolation of a house.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
That is true.
That was before the stream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the festival. There might be games that we can try. I don't know. We can. There are many things. If we think of something, I can try and talk to people.
I think at that point, Garvin sort of pipes up with quite a cheeky, gleeful look in his eye and goes, "Are you going to wrestle a muddy pig again if there's games to be had?"
No. I have enough of my pig wrestling days are over. The failure was too much for me.
Alton will
The streak was ended.
sort of wait till that dies down a bit with her and Garvin, the little back and forth. And he'll lean into Mara a bit closer and he'll say, We cannot wait. Garvin doesn't have forever.
I know.
Why did we not go to a church immediately?
Right? That's basically what I was giving.
Well, I tell you what, Mara did do on the last stream a medicine check, and she
has time.
She knew that what it was. Well, he's not fine, but they didn't seem to be getting any worse. So, whilst yes, you definitely would, naturally all the characters would want to help him. It's not that you need to run through the gates and go straight to a church. In the morning will probably make no difference to him, and he's generally okay.
Yeah.
He's not. To you, he's not exhibiting any signs of being anything other than Garvin since that last spell that Mara did to it was worse. Mara has lessened the effect, and he doesn't seem to be that bad since that spell was cast on him, the lesser restoration. Just so you all remember that yes, it is something you want to do, but a day or two, none of you think that that's actually going to affect him.
Yeah, what I would say is I think Alton's probably being a little bit of a worrywart just because he knows Nephian is involved with it, and he didn't do that check with the medicine check. So though he believes what he hears from Mara, he worries probably a bit more about it, perhaps potentially.
Absolutely, yeah, that's no problem. And I think Garvin, when you're having these sorts of conversations, he'll be sort of like, "Don't talk about me as though I'm not here. I'm not going to drop dead. We'll be fine. Nothing. Some more ales and a good night's sleep won't fix."
I think Alton will.
If you want to drag me off to be poked and prod tomorrow, leave that till tomorrow.
Alton will sort of, with that sort of, seeing Garvin and stuff, it becomes a humanizing thing, and he will say, "Yes, I suppose we can wait a day. You're not going to turn into a dragon immediately."
He's sort of,
Alton jumps. Alton jumps, even though he thought it was that he knew the joke, and then he's like,
he sort of rolls back, sort of roaring with laughter, takes a big swig of ale, and signals for another one.
The temple will be there tomorrow. We don't need to. It'll.
And again, that Garvin sort of goes, "And this stuff's almost as good as dwarven ale. It's very good for humans."
Well, humans can do some things right.
Usually not make very good ale, unfortunately.
Alton, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
We can find better.
How old are you?
They throw him out. You're not old enough to drink here.
No, this is not about the topic. It's just, would you consider yourself an adult?
He feels up to like where he has like patchy mutton chops. And he doesn't really know, I guess. You don't get an answer, I should say.
In your culture, the sort of people who you would consider proper members of society, than the people of the Stag Guard, they are what you would consider, I would imagine, adults. They have careers. They are existing in an independent state. Would you consider yourself one of those?
Now, maybe.
All right, good enough. We're going bar hopping.
What? and Alton starts sort of just jumping on his seat.
Yes.
Hey, is this?
Yay!
Is that what
It
we're
will
doing?
be at the end of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll... It's been a while. I guess that would be great to hop back into that.
We will find something that Elton can drink in this city.
Oh, we will. There's everything. Everything is here. We'll find something.
We will find something.
Worst case scenario, we'll bring it from one tavern to the next.
Yep.
And I think as you all sort of maybe order one more round before you go and set out on other things, you've all realised that as you've been sitting there having your food, your drinks, maybe an hour or two have passed now. It's pitch black outside. Well, the sky is pitch black. There are torches and things lighting the street. It is a relatively well-off area, but you've not noticed, because you've not really been paying attention straight away, but you all sort of turn around and the bar is much busier. Where you used to be able to see the bar and sort of wave people over, it's now just the backs of people that are sort of crowding around the bar. So convivial, there's no fighting or cross words or anything. It's a very pleasant but lively place to be. The fiddler that's been playing up the back as it gets busier and busier is starting to play more and more jaunty tunes. A few slightly more inebriated people have got up to dance a bit at the back. You can't really see them, but you can hear by the sort of clatter of feet that's probably what's going on, and encouraging shouts from people. And as that happens, you hear the sort of door sort of rush open and a sort of a commotion. And Mara, you hear a very familiar voice starting to shout out from you. And
It's Sir Skelderos. It's just
no, it's not. Mara!
Yay! Have a drink with us.
Everything's better when you're drunk.
Everyone's a friend.
It is the voice of someone that. Well, I'll not prejudge how you feel about them, but it is Ellersaf Zaz, the wife of the Overgold, and she comes in and
she's got a face on her.
Her. Yeah, I'll maybe let you describe how, because she's in her sort of normal attire. It's someone from your backstory that you've created.
She comes in and hand Mara has a huge pack of gold.
No.
A very beautiful middle-aged woman comes in with red hair, very well kept red hair. She wears very nice clothes, even if it's just her regular wear. So the thing, I guess she would be described as someone that they would use to paint like a Greek or Roman goddess. They would have used her as a muse, which is where that image actually comes from. So she's like a very, very classically beautiful woman with a very beautiful singing voice, I guess.
Okay. Which I will absolutely butcher and again turn it into that.
Absolutely, Squid. Let's hear her pipes. No. I think we're all ready.
Theater of the mind.
Before we get to that, and I think as you sort of turn to crane your neck, you can hear there's a slight edge to her voice, and you see the top of her head coming through, because she's quite a tall lady, if I remember rightly from your description.
Yeah, she's taller than Mara. Yeah.
Yeah. So although she's not like bounding about, you can start to see the top of her head coming through the crowd, and then she sort of comes in, and as you see her, make a perception check, Mara.
Oh no, not perception. My worst stat. Look, motherfucking cat. Sorry, the cat opened the front door and he ran out. Perception. That is a 28.
Okay, yeah, that's my worst stat. In that sort of frame, you're expecting, the warm welcome of someone you consider a friend, although you've not known her for a long time, but you became quite close in the sort of months that you spent here before, and you're expecting arms open wide for a big hug, but you can see that she is on the edge of being distraught. She's not quite actually distraught, but you can tell that she's tense, she's not happy, and not like directed at you, but there's something going on. And she sort of bursts in and sort of takes you back by the face and sort of goes, "Oh, Mara, I've been looking for you. I've had watchers waiting to tell me, bring me word the minute you returned to the city." And then she sort of is overcome with emotion and just sort of, you can almost feel her fingernails digging into your back. She's sort of clutching at you rather than hugging you, and she's sort of mumbling into your shoulder, and it's like, the Overgold, he's gone missing. I don't know what to do.
Mara will be obviously very, very shocked. He's what?
And nobody else in the temple is bothered, because I think there's all the maneuvering. They're all just lining up to take his position.
Where would he have gone? What can we do?
Well, I know that you and he had... Well, I'm not going to mince around words. You had a very difficult relationship that you didn't see eye to eye due to his... Well, I don't need to tell you about the background to you and your mentor, but I knew that you did not feel his dealings with Luskin were a good idea, but he went to strike a deal there. He got in touch with somebody, and he thought it was an untapped resource. Not enough people do business there, or the businesses of the black variety, and he still thought that something was new routes to be opened up through to the frozen north, and to Mirabar, and to all the other dwarven strongholds in the edge of the world. But he went to meet somebody called Alar Roland, and he was only meant to be gone a week or two, and he has never returned. And I've sent messengers to the town, and they have come back saying that they just cannot find any sign of him, or of this Alar Roland.
With like the information coming in, compounding the terrible situation, Mara will try and take her away to a more quiet place so that they can talk, away from like buddying people everywhere.
You'd probably have to go outside, because there's nowhere like that in here unless you go and like get a room from Herbrith and take them up to a room, which you can do if that's what you'd rather do than go outside, because he has rooms. Most of his business is the bar, so there are 3 rooms available here if you want to get one or all of them.
Yeah, Mara will try and gently grab her by the arm and drag her towards and basically go to Herbert. Room now. and she'll slam like 5 gold coins on the table.
Oh, Mara's
Bam.
keen.
I see an opening and I'm taking it.
Been on the road a while, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Herbreth sees that she's distressed, and you know it's not a problem, and gives you a key. And I think Mara's maybe stayed here before, so you know the way up the stairs. And there's only 5 rooms, and they're all on the same landing. The key's got the number on it, so you can take.
Yeah.
Do you bring the rest of your party, or do you just leave without saying a word, or?
I think the others. I think it would be. It's a huge event for this to happen, so I don't know if Mara would have the mind to gesture to everybody to follow her.
Yeah.
But they would probably see that she also, when talking to this woman, a huge piece of distress enters into her as well.
Yeah.
Because usually she's not like grabbing somebody and trying to get them away.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's what was to do. That sort of Mara gestures the lady, goes off. Garvin obviously follows, and you see them get a key from Herbreth and go up the stairs. I mean, or go towards the stairs. Do any of the rest of you want to say anything before Mara disappears? Let her go, follow her?
I think Alton, as soon as the lady came in and was like grabbing at Mara, essentially, I think Alton would have like been near Mara with like a dagger in his hand, probably.
No.
Well, he's not attacking, and she didn't attack you really, so he was just kind of like, "What the hell's this?"
Yeah.
And Alir, you know, she's just not paying attention. So you know, you could virtually have had it next to her face, and she probably wouldn't have noticed. So it certainly goes unnoticed to her. Whether any of your colleagues around the table see it or not, I don't know.
Miss Mara, where are you going?
She's trying to go. I don't know if she would be very aware of more voices. If anything, she would go, room. We're going to room to talk.
Yeah, okay. I mean, again, that's absolutely your choice. If you don't think that you heard or wouldn't react, not a problem at all.
Well, I guess she did when she said we're going to room to talk.
Yeah, room. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, honestly, with that, I think Alton would probably just put his dagger away and just sit back down where he was. Probably, he wasn't asked to go, so.
I think that the moment she walked in, Celia kind of like turned away to like, just like, I'm not here. It's like keep sipping his drink and like, don't mind me.
Yes.
Celia heard a plot coming. He didn't want to hear about it.
Yeah, no. I sense the
just
plot.
wanted one shopping episode.
No one wants that.
All the other
No,
shows.
I don't want a shopping episode. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited out of character, but in character is some weird stranger who is close to Mara, and I don't want them to be close to me. She's like,
That's fine.
I mean, every other show we've made this week has had shopping portions in them, so why not?
I would Ceric react then, Emeros.
As soon as they got out of there, he would probably just turn back to Celia and so that bar hopping thing you were talking about.
yeah, let's go.
Okay, no. You genuinely walk out into an pub crawl.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right, okay. Alton, do you sit there on your own, or do you join them?
I think I know what a bar crawl is at this stage, and Alton's just not interested at all. But like,
That's fine.
Elton, probably just go with Mara. You could help her if possible. You can probably get in touch with us better with Quill if anything happens.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
doing big things while you're up there. Yeah.
We're going to do big thing. We got some big stuff going on, okay?
We got big stuff coming.
Yeah. All right. Alton was sort of Did Alton hear which room the barkeep said?
I've sort of done it out of time, so you can still see Mara sort of just starting to ascend the stairs. So you can see, you're looking past people's shoulders and through their legs and stuff, but you know that she's still just ahead of you.
I think Alton will, he'll follow her. He will also,
no problem to catch up.
Yeah, he will also crawl up the stairs, as it is faster for him to do that.
Like a dog.
Yeah, well, not quite like he's not a beast. He's just and he will obviously struggle to keep up with Mara's human legs, but he will sort of quietly follow.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. Obviously, Sirik and Salir, you sort of exit into the cool evening, turning to night. But you looking up and down the street, there's quite a lot of other hostelries that seem to be the same. So you can set off and explore the alcoholic pleasures of the town.
Mm-hmm.
So Mara, you get in and into the room. Alir just sort of slumps down, sitting on the edge of the bed, sort of face in hand, sort of sobbing. And you don't even have to roll a check to see that she has been keeping all of this tension inside, and to see a friendly face that she hopes is going to help solve this. It's just that, the resolution of that, and that she's released all that tension is that over. She's all overwhelmed with that now, and she's not really making. She's sort of trying to say things to you, but none of it's really making sense.
Yeah, Mara will try and comfort her.
I think
I can just...
I think what'll happen is, like, off camera you will see, not off camera but coming onto camera, you will see one of the cherry pinwheels sort of start to be offered, and I imagine Mara will like slap Alton's or push Alton's hand away. He's just like,
this always works for me.
Yeah. Want to feel better? Want some jam?
He runs away, gets a pineapple.
Yeah, indeed.
I think he'll just quietly be in another part of the room, just sort of staying low.
So Mara, do you just let her go through this, or?
Yeah, I mean, Mara will try and comfort her, and she will, definitely say that we will do something. We'll try and find him. This is not okay. So she will try and comfort her, give her some time to sort of go through all the things that she's been keeping in, and console.
And she sort of starts to do deep breaths and take control over herself again, and she again explains the story from the beginning, that he thinks, and he doesn't, for you, Alton, she doesn't explain what Luskin is or where it is or anything. I think you will obviously discern it as another town, but how close, how far away, how big it is not a part
I have no
of
reference, really.
Conversation. You've got no reference at all to that.
Yeah.
But it's quite clear that Mara knows exactly what she's talking about, certainly vaguely. And she explains that this is a town that was even... No, she doesn't explain that. She explains that this is a town that's sort of on the edges of lawfulness, and that the Overgold saw it as a place to extend caravan routes, to bring proper civilization and lawfulness there, obviously to turn a profit, as is the will of Joaquin. But she also sort of looks at Mara and says, my husband is many things, but I am not... I do not pretend to not be aware of his flaws. I know that he is always seeking for information and secrets as an advantage to hold over people in trade negotiations. And, you know, traders and merchants and politicians, they all have secrets. And he has gained some incredibly valuable and profitable contracts by working like that. But you also know that Luskan is not the same as the other cities in the Sword Coast. And I fear terribly that he has found information and tried to use it as leverage in a negotiation with the wrong person, and he has been murdered or secreted away somewhere. But they won't help.
No.
His underlings are just... They're almost gleeful that he's disappeared and the thought that they're going to be promoted.
Do we suspect them? They do it?
No, they are many things, and in a large temple of virtually any religion, there is always politicking. But I do not suspect there is any of them that would do this deliberately. None of them are shy of taking advantage of something like this happening, but even one as cynical as me, I do not suspect any of them would have actually organized it themselves.
So then, what was the name of the man? Alar Roland?
He is called Alar Roland. Whether that is truthfully his real name, I have no idea. All I know that he is a half-elven man. With half-elves, you can never tell how old they are. He could be 30, he could be 90. But he looked middle-aged, was what the Overgold was told to seek him out to expect. I think he worked or was said, well, again, somewhere like, which is why we were both very nervous about him trying to make ties with Luskan. You never know the truth of the information, but he thinks that he was a member of one of the lower captain's ships. Probably, it was never said specifically to me, but I suspect it would either have been part of the Souljack or Terrell crew.
Souljacker.
Sorry, Souljack or Terrell.
Oh.
Probably talking too fast and slurring my words into one.
Well, she's crying and she's very high-spirited. Or not high-spirited, but yeah.
I'm highly caffeinated.
I wish I was more caffeinated. No. So Mara will be taking down sort of notes like I'm doing now.
Well, roll a history check, Mara.
Sure. That is.
I would ask Alton, but Alton just has no frame of reference, so I don't think. Well, actually. No, Alton, roll a history check as well, because you've now been in enough bars, especially in Derd Balakan, and there was lots of storytelling and things like that. So you may have actually known a bit about Luskan.
He got a 17.
Alton?
History, was it?
Yep.
Oh, that's 15.
Okay. Both of you know that Luskan is a town 150 miles to the north of where you are at the moment. It's the last sort of major city before the spine of the world and the ice fields of Icewind Dale and the frozen wastes beyond that. Like Neverwinter, it's a coastal city, but rather than trade, its primary export is piracy. A lot of the trade routes on the Sword Coast are either pirated by people from Luskan or pay big protection money for their convoys to be avoided. It's basically the protection racket off the sea on the Sword Coast. It was badly devastated by the volcano that erupted sort of 50, 60 years ago. It was absolutely decimated, even as badly as Neverwinter. But again, it's building itself back up rather oddly, although it has, to someone visiting for the first time, it has this veneer of being a city like any other, until you start to look, and the City Watch is different in different quadrants. But you know it's not a safe place. There's a lot of black market. Alton specifically, you'll have known tales of the daring do sort of swashbuckling type pirate adventures. Mara, you'll know more about the cruel reality of the pirates that come out of there. And the fact that the city does not have a traditional leadership or politics. It's actually, each sector is run by the 5 high captains of the pirating bands that are there. And these 2 that Elir has mentioned to you are the 3rd and 4th high captains. They are always vying for power to become the high captain.
Ooh.
So yeah, I think that's about as much. Mara will know a little bit more, but I don't think it to let this flow a bit. I'm not going to Luskan too deeply at the moment. One last thing I will say that you will know, Mara, is that slavery, whilst illegal in Luskan, nobody enforces that law, and the slave trade is alive and well.
But I assume that Elirza would know that as well. But yeah, they won't mention it because they don't want to think that would happen.
Absolutely. Mara's first thought about Luskan is that if he has done as Elir is worried about and has angered somebody in power, it's far more likely he's been taken and sold into slavery than murdered. Because why not turn a profit?
Yeah. We'll get him. We'll find him. We'll travel as far as it takes to find him. I'm so sorry that this would happen. And she restrains herself from starting the argument that she had with him before. I'm sorry that this happened. We'll find him. Do you need anything?
She just sort of shaking her hands and sort of starts sobbing again. It's also hopeless. I mean, what can I expect you to achieve? You're just one person amongst a whole city of cutthroats and mercenaries.
Can Alton, as she's speaking, can he try and gauge this woman a bit for how forthcoming she's being?
Make a perception check.
Perception. That's a 19 total.
Or insight.
That's a lot more
if
then.
That's any better.
Actually, no, insight's the same. It's 19.
Okay. You do not think she's holding anything back at all. She is being absolutely forthright and truthful. She obviously loves her husband, but and is desperately worried about what's happened to him. Yeah. When she was talking about disagreements with Mara and Mara's mentor, it was briefly mentioned, you could tell she was a little bit conflicted and was quite glad that the conversation went past that.
Okay.
But she never lied.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure she wasn't someone, because I would imagine along the road, as they were explaining what Neverwinter was and this big city was, is that there are people who will try and trick you and take advantage of people. So that's why he was paranoid enough to do that. Cool.
No, absolutely.
Yep.
Maybe this is a good point to have our break. We're on our hour and a half mark. And then we can maybe come back to the second half of this wee scene and see how it finishes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Give Terror a wee chance to think about what he may or may want to. Yeah, exactly. I know it's a
catch
bit
his
much
cat.
because you had no indication that this was going to happen.
No, God, no. I had Mara worried about going to the temple, and she would go in there and just get into an argument with this guy. But now he's not even here.
Yeah.
He might be in chains or dead. Yeah. Oh no, yeah. It's great to have the very, very unexpected thing happen. This is great.
D&D, baby.
I don't want to go to Luskan, but it's great.
Oh, we're going to Luskan next.
We are. I mean, now at this point, it becomes a critical point for Mara to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. That Alton knows essentially what he has heard from people. He has heard probably the propaganda of Luskan in sort of a Robin Hood way, and Mara knows the reality. I love that. I'm going to play off that. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back in 5-10 minutes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Grab a drink, bite to eat, and we'll be back in 5
Thanks for watching.
See you soon.